Hey there, boys and girls. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollow Weekly. Nick and George here with, should we call it the Great Debate?
Yeah, let's call it the Great Debate.
Let's call it the Great Debate. And we're not talking about toilet paper. We're talking about, we did a post not that long ago of what one film you would sell your soul for a sequel.
Yes. What one film would you sell your soul to get a sequel to?
And we got some answers. We got
Yeah,
a handful of people responded.
I wanted to cover when people started answering. I got excited. I was like, "Oh, that's a cool answer. That's a cool answer." I was like, "Let's give them a shout out on the podcast." And then we got 2,000 more comments, so we're just not going to cover
There's quite a bit.
all the comments for them. But I do want to go through some of the highlights. But what the episode is going to be about like not just what our personal picks for what we would sell our soul for sequels to, but also kind of the idea behind what a lot of the side discussion on the post turned into, whether sequels were good or bad for horror, whether sequels are good or bad in cinema in general, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So it got me really thinking about like kind of what they were discussing. So just the concept of sequels is also part of it.
And then we also had an interesting discussion before we recorded that we're going to bring up of, is there what is better? If you line them up pound for pound, which is better? The remakes in horror or sequels in horror?
Well, let's do that now, because that's the groundwork for where we're headed, right? So like
when you run the numbers, it gets tight.
So here's my idea behind it. So what happened in the post was there were people who were like answering basically. There were a few people who were like, I'm not selling my soul for any movie. That's silly, because figures of speech were
above them,
beyond them. So then they moved on to some people objecting with I don't want any sequels. The sequels always ruin the original, which kind of blew my mind. That's still a thing, right? Yeah, that's a hard stance. And I know I don't want to I'm not going after these people with a bat, but that's just wrong.
That's safe for the sequel.
That's right. We'll say that for the sequel. But that's just objectively wrong when you start looking at obviously some of the great sequels of all time, like Evil Dead 2 or Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, like,
anything.
Like right, exactly. Now I get it. There was actually a really interesting discussion we had, and I got to give credit to the person who kind of was debating with us on our Facebook page, and they kept it civil and they thought through which we really appreciate. That's what we're all about.
Yeah.
Right? So that was great. And kind of their argument was, which I found interesting, and I wanted to throw to you because we didn't pre-discuss this for the episode. I just remembered that it was something that intrigued me. His argument was that my disappointment in a movie that I was excited about that isn't good, like let's say Strangers Brand Night, right?
Yeah.
Outweighs my excitement and appreciation for when there's a sequel that exceeds my expectations. So it's basically burning your hand on the stove. You only have to do it once, but you need 7 compliments, right? It's that old thing, like negative is more powerful than the positive. So he basically is arguing I respond to the negative stimuli stronger than the positive stimuli. So like you'd have to give me 7 great sequels to balance out my disappointment at like whatever, name a terrible sequel, Exorcist 4. So, right? So, like, that was his argument. And I thought that was kind of valid. That's kind of intriguing. That's how it works for him. So, fair enough, right?
Yeah.
Like, whatever. It's not how it works for me. How does it work for you? Like, do you...
If the movie's good, I like it. Case closed, dude.
Case closed.
Yeah, I don't need 7 mediocre sequels. Like, if they're good, like, they're fucking good, man. Like... I don't know.
What if they're bad? Like, what if it's a sequel? Do you feel like it kind of ruins the original for you? Like, that's the crux of it. Okay.
Absolutely not.
So you're
if I go to In-N-Out and I have the best burger of my life,
yes,
and I go to In-N-Out and then I get food poisoning,
yes,
I may not want to go back,
yes,
but it doesn't change the feelings that I had one of the best burgers of my life there.
Interesting. But you don't go back, which
But
is kind of his point. Is that so I guess here would be one of his points, right? His point would be, there's a new Friday the 13th sequel out. He's like, no, fuck you. I saw Jason Goes to Hell. I'm not going back. That was my food poisoning, right?
Yeah.
So that makes a little bit of sense.
But family comes into town. They haven't had In-N-Out yet.
Yes.
And just to be clear, I've never gotten food poisoning from In-N-Out.
No, yeah.
That's never
right,
happened.
Right. In-N-Out is paying us to...
They're paying us to
not
this
do
is hush
this
money.
Yeah, to not publish this
This is hush
podcast
money.
episode.
But I would go back, and then what would happen more than likely for me, because I have the mindset of like a dog, where like I forget that I ate,
Right.
and I'm going to throw up and I'm going to eat some more.
Right.
I would probably end up enjoying it again,
Right.
because it would be the same old In-N-Out, but with a new group of people, and I'm enjoying the experience.
Your food poisoning story is making me hungry, and his sequel argument made me want to watch a whole bunch of sequels. So apparently, I'm just crosswired.
Yeah, but like I understand. Here's the thing: is like I understand where he's going, but
for him, right?
But the fact of the matter is like it's like this Captain Marvel shit that's going on right now. Like they stop, you can't give preemptive reviews, and all these white dudes are like, but my voice is broken, and it's like, dude, you haven't seen the fucking film yet. Why? He's like, well, what if I want to voice my opinion that I'm not going to see it? Then fucking don't see it.
I want to go across all podcasts released in like the last 3 or 4 years, and I want to pull everyone who talks in internet comment voice and just archive them all in one place. What do internet comments sound like to you? I'm a white guy.
I love Captain Marvel. I want to fuck my lazy boy. That's what it sounds like to me.
Guys, we want you to voice message our Hello Weekly page with you talking in internet comment voice. I wanted to hear your internet comment voice.
But the guy who was civil, that's not his voice.
Yeah, no, I know.
But you have to see the fucking movie to know if it's good or not.
Obviously. Well, and your basic argument is right. If it's good, you would.
And here's the thing: I'm guilty of seeing films that I think are gonna suck. I don't see them. 5 years later, people are like, "This movie rocks," and then I see it. I'm like, "Well, who would have guessed this movie rocks?"
Right.
Maybe I shouldn't have prejudged it.
Right.
You know. And here's the thing: if a movie does come out, and like I've seen some films that like were like okay,
sure,
I don't regret it. Like I made the decision. I'm gonna have to I can't reverse time.
Never gonna get that $15 back. Nick.
But I don't blame his. Especially like if you're paying to go see it in the theater. Yes. I don't blame that like preemptive like I'll probably pass.
His argument wasn't so much. So here's the thing, because we got in the weeds a little bit. So let's take a step back. Okay. So first of all, the thing I don't like, and I think you and I both agree with this, that we don't like is the extremes. Right? The sequels are never good. They always ruin the original. When you put the always or never in there, you're just automatically wrong. That's just wrong, right? If you're talking about specifics like we're doing now, like then you get to have your own say. It's your life. Like
I don't even say pizza's always good anymore.
Yeah, after Japan,
Disney Tokyo.
Right? Oh, wow. So now I'm not hungry anymore. Good job. Your food poisoning story made me hungry, and our actual pizza
took it all away.
All right, but let's go back to the thing that I wanted to cover before we got into the specific movies, which was. It got me thinking where I was going to counter the guy with, while we were debating with, you don't like the thing. And I realized, wait, I'm just reflexively using my argument against remakes suck.
Yeah.
So then I was like, wait a minute. I want to think this through. Which, if you took the top 5 best horror remakes of all time and you put them side by side with the top 5 best horror sequels of all time, is there a qualitative difference? If it's BattleBots, is one side going to win, right? Or is it a tie? So then we went and we looked and we were kind of picking out our favorites. So let's talk about this for a minute.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And so this when you ask this question to the modern horror fan,
yes,
it's sort of like it takes your brain a second to be like, well, wait a minute, we're comparing what now? Because in your head it automatically. You're sort of like, is this the losers bracket? Like, what are we doing here?
Right.
And then you look at what films are in there, and you're like, oh, these are monumental fucking horror films,
right?
And remakes and sequels, and it ends up. What we've discovered is it's pretty much a tie. Like when you put them bam bam next to each other, like you can't. Each of them are better in different areas.
Yes.
Like I think the first one we talked about was The Ring.
Well, let's do it. So I'll give you the top.
Okay.
I'll give you the top three of each category, right? That we had come up with, right? So that in the just and we're not saying these are our three favorite remake or three sequels of all time. This was just for
We just did a quick Google search
for sake of the
Yeah.
argument, right? So for remakes, we picked The Ring, The Thing, The Fly because it was easy to say,
Bum-ba-dum-ba-dum.
right? And for sequels, we picked Aliens, Bride of Frankenstein, and Evil Dead 2. All right. Now, if you put these three side by side and make them fight, right? No one wins, right? Like no one wins. These are all authentically
It's like in a
amazing
film when
movies.
the parents fight and the kids start crying. They're like, stop fighting! Like this is
Aliens
what that
stop
is.
fighting with the fly.
Yeah.
Like, right, exactly. So like right, exactly. And then we were like, well, maybe we can break the tie by moving further down the list, but it kind of tracks the way you would expect it to, which is when super talented fucking filmmakers like Cronenberg or James Whale make movies, they're great. This is not brain surgery, right? It doesn't matter what it is. If it's a home movie, Joss Whedon made a fucking Shakespeare movie in his backyard on a weekend, and it's one of the best Shakespeare adaptations I've ever seen, right? So like this is like these are great people making great movies, so that's why they're great. That's the point, right? So like the question is, was one category going to give an inherent advantage against the other category? And I think the answer is no.
No,
Right.
There's not. I mean, again, the closest thing you can do is like what I was saying for like The Ring and The Fly, or Aliens and The Thing, or God damn it, there's so many films. Aliens and The Ring.
Yes.
Each of them are great in their own little categories. Like if you want like some cool space horror with a lot of action, boom, Aliens is gonna hit that up for you. If you want some of like the slow, cooler Japanese stuff, you know, the Ring, a Japanese influence since The Ring was the American remake,
Right.
You know what I'm saying.
Yes.
It packs a punch in a completely different way.
Totally.
That is on the same level of effective as Aliens.
Yeah, it's comparing apples and oranges in terms of the movies, but in terms of like quality, in terms of trying to think through which of these movies impacted audiences the most, which of these movies, when you took them apart and you judge movies by their pieces, by the cinematography, by the screenplay, by the acting, it's still a tie. It's still a goddamn tie,
very
right? Like
hard.
there's no way to. So that's the thing is, I don't think there's an inherent advantage between the category, but it's interesting to me that there's not an inherent advantage between the categories because I would have guessed remakes would have an advantage. To be honest with you,
Yeah, that was my
before
first.
I thought about it. My gut would have said remake.
When you first asked, I thought that because I thought of The Thing, and then when I like, it's funny like when you're I'm sure the listeners probably think this like, why are you guys researching it like last minute? Because there's so many films that you forget about. So I completely forgot about one of my favorite films, which was the remake of Dawn of the Dead. Like we watched that film every day when we first got it on TV. We watched the half hour behind the scenes.
It was one of our
Tom
most
Savini.
popular watch parties on Facebook.
Yeah, it's just a really good movie, and but then you're like, okay, remakes has it in the bag, and then you throw in the sequels, which I will say I can see why the majority of people would probably say sequels are worse because most of the time sequels are just a cash grab.
Right.
They're like, okay, that made $50 million in the box office. Let's just pump out like 3 more.
Yeah, that's true. And also, I think there's probably a time delay factor, which is interesting because you don't get a remake 2 years after a movie. So the movie's made and then it sits there and then you're hungry for that story again, but maybe you don't like the way some of the stuff dated. And then you're excited when they announce possibly that there's going to be a thing. Whereas a sequel could literally be 9 months later.
Yeah.
Right. So like, I feel like the remake one is a little more exciting when the news comes out, right? Like when Dark Universe first was like, and they were like, we're going to have a new Invisible Man, a new whatever. That's an exciting prospect. Right. Whereas if you told me, we're gonna do a new
The Boy 2.
Well, that's not a fair comparison to compare Invisible Man to The Boy.
Hey,
It's not.
we're in a weird time. We're in a weird time with sequels because of Annabelle Creations,
True, totally.
Ouija Origin of Evil. Those are the first that usually come to my mind.
Sure.
Happy Death Day 2 to some degree.
Right, and right,
Some degree. Some light degree.
right. But that's the thing is like the category you would have expected, but it turns out what trumps everything is who did it, right?
Yeah.
If whoever's doing it is fucking Wes Craven or someone magical and great and a craftsman or a craftsperson, what they do, boom, that it's going to be amazing, right? So, all right, but let's move on to the some of the actual choices that were made. So, the popular ones, did you screenshotted some you wanted to share? I think.
Oh
of
yeah.
some of the answers.
So on the main page, the Hollow Weekly main page. In fact, your answer got a lot of upvotes for Dog Soldiers.
yeah, I saw they got a lot of reaction.
Why is it that werewolves and vampires, like those types of things, can get sequels pretty easily? Like Underworld, like that kind of stuff. I just feel like you can just pop those suckers out.
Well, I think once you build a universe, it's easy to just
you've established the
replicate
world.
shit in the universe, right? So yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like what that
Unless
guy
you're
say?
David Lynch.
There's a scene in La La Land where they're at like this party with like a bunch of other screenwriters, and
Mm-hmm.
the guy goes, "Yeah, I'm pretty good at world building," because everyone's heard that at an LA party before. Pretty good at world building.
You and God. Okay.
Okay, so then one of the fans who's been with us almost since the beginning, Christina.
Yes.
She said
Also a Patreon
She said
supporter.
The Vitch,
Yes.
or It Follows.
Yes.
I would actually, because we're gonna do a series, Growers Not Showers, and It Follows is definitely on the list for me. That's grown over the years.
Yes.
I could totally get down with an It Follows.
Yeah, we have an upcoming series that we're really excited about, where we're going to talk about and kind of think through the process of how movies horror movies grow on you, which we're excited about. And It Follows definitely grew on you.
It did. It's R.C. Martin with Idle Hands.
Yep.
I think a lot of those '90s films could do it. Like if for some reason Robert Rodriguez and like Elijah Wood and Josh Hartnett came back and did Faculty.
Yep.
Faculty 2.
Yep.
I'd see that.
For sure.
Sue Shipper said Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Yes.
Which it is well known that they have been teasing a sequel for the longest time. Like,
Yeah, I don't keep up on movie news like you do, so you'll know more than me. But let's. I know you probably have this in a screenshot, but let's just knock it out in a block because it's there. One of the most popular categories of answers was horror comedies. So there was Zombieland, What We Do in the Shadows,
Which is coming out TV series.
right? Shaun of the Dead, right? And Tucker and Dale. So those were all great answers, and they got lots of
3 out of 4
upvotes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Eric Carlson said horror-wise, The Final Girls.
Yes.
Non-horror-wise, Sky Captain of the World of Tomorrow.
That was interesting.
That's a good answer. Kim said Night of the Creeps. See, that's the thing is I'm going to bring up some more Fred Decker.
Yes.
Here
I
in
know
a
you
little,
are.
Here in a little bit. 88 version of the Blob.
Yeah, a sequel to that. Absolutely. Right.
Dread. People love Dread. I never got around to
Dread was so this guy shared in a lot of places on Facebook, and I noticed one of the places where it's a mainstream cinema Facebook group, not a horror one. That was a really popular answer.
That makes sense. Alex Mary said Evil Dead Remake Part 2, which I can totally get behind. And Evil Dead,
I'm surprised that's not a thing already.
right? Like,
Right.
we're like, what's going on? Fede Alvarez? Is that, I think that's who it was.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, he's pulling a John Carpenter. He didn't go back to he didn't just make Halloween 2. He went and made Don't Breathe, and he's doing which I respect, but come back to
Just do it.
because you got it out of your system now. You made other movies now.
You're fine.
Yeah.
We all know you can make a good movie.
Yeah, come back.
Well, he did do,
Especially since Ash vs. Evil Dead was canceled.
and I think he did one of the first few episodes of season 1.
Cool.
So you're prime.
Yeah.
You passed the pop quiz.
Yeah,
you
totally.
can do it.
Yeah, he's fine.
Alex Gonzalez said Hocus Pocus. Ethan. I don't know about movies, but I would love season 4 of Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Hannibal season 4. Oh, we're getting some televisions in here.
Yeah, I love that people took it that way. I love that they don't respect the confines of the question and just go with it.
They just go with it. Autopsy of Jane Doe.
That's a great answer.
Oh yeah. No movie is worth my soul. This is from Abel.
Yeah, we got that answer a couple times.
But I would do horrible things for Del Toro's final Hellboy movie, the setup sequel to Dracula Untold, and was always promised. 28 months later.
Yep.
20 months later needs to happen. I think Danny Boyle's got that film about the Beatles coming out yesterday, and it looks really good. Have you seen the trailer for that?
I have.
I think that movie's going to do really good, and once it's doing good, you've pocketed all the profit. Just go make 28 months later. It's not that hard.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard. And then, okay, here's this comment. None, besides a couple exceptions, most sequels suck. So, none, but
none.
some.
Buzz up.
None but some.
None buzz up.
Yeah, this was Johnny. He loved, my expectations are Terminator 2, Aliens, Devil's Rejects, Purge Anarchy. I did enjoy The Toxic Avenger 2.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you something, Johnny. I love you to death. I'm glad you're in the group, but that's more than none by like 500%. You have 500% wrong
That is more than that.
for your answer. I'm glad you commented, but those the answer none is incorrect. Sequels are never as good, so not sure. Oh, and then you posted Silence of the Lambs, and then
Yeah, that was the discussion starter.
If I'm selling my soul, it's gonna be for money, not a movie. Tasha, right answer. And then just to wrap up a few more, Behind the Mask. I would love to see more of that film crew,
definitely.
or who lived from the film crew.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice.
Yep.
Which they've been. That's it. I don't. Nothing's ever been confirmed. No studio has ever.
I
been
see
like,
a fake Beetlejuice 2 poster like every
month.
Yep.
It's disgusting. Okay, and then a proper sequel to Fly 86.
Yes.
Proper.
prop.
That's the
proper, because the Fly 2 exists, but
it does.
Cronenberg actually wrote a treatment, I think, or whatever the technical term for it is, for a Fly sequel, where
Like a treatment.
it's sort of like The Fly meets The Matrix, where Jeff Goldblum's character's in the cyberverse, which sounds super cool. And of course, they didn't make it, so they did win with Fly 2, where
It's not too late.
yeah, come on. In a couple places where, so first of all, I was heartened to see that even though this question got answered in a lot of mainstream movie spots online, I would say a good chunk of 50% of the answers were horror. Now, part of it is I steered it a little bit with the image I chose.
Yeah.
The image I chose was Drag Me to Hell, right? But there were still a lot of people answering non-horror, but then there were a lot of people answering horror. So a couple of the non-horror ones that I thought were interesting was we got Someone Wants to Follow Up to The Matrix. You got a sequel to Contact. We got a hilarious side discussion on a remake of Zardoz, the movie with Sean Connery and the weird underwear.
Oh no.
Yeah.
The red,
no, right.
the red mankini.
Yeah, exactly. There was a lot of love for a sequel to District 9 in a lot of places.
Dude, I remember when I watched that, the alien's like, I'll come back in like, how many years? Like 7 years. He's like, I'll come back in like 7 years. And I was like, 7 years is so far away. But like, I think we've
Right?
blown past like the 7-year mark. So we're like, yo, let's get
It's time now.
District.
The same thing happened with Twin Peaks. At the end of Twin Peaks, the original series, Laura Palmer had said, I'll see you in 25 years. And then everyone would like, when 25 years went by, they were like, could this be real? And then it was real. Like, holy shit. So yeah, hopefully that
They don't have that David Lynch follow through though.
No, they don't. No, they need the David Lynch follow.
Do you think he woke up like, because he probably he's a big director. He knows how long it takes for production to happen. Do you think he woke up the day before the allowed time it would take to film Twin Peaks: The Returns and was like, oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
we're coming up
Oh,
on that
yeah.
25-year mark. I better
I better get on this.
get on this.
No, I think they've been talking about it for 25 years, and I think it's just like he just sits on, he like gestates it like fucking Horton on an egg or something. He just he works on his own time schedule. Like, and then Event Horizon and Cloverfield both got some really good ones, and I want to give a shout out to someone who said Shin Godzilla, which I love the idea of this.
Yeah.
Shin Godzilla.
There was always, because like I always loved like the online forums, like back when forums were still big when Cloverfield came out, and after it came out, all the talks of like, yeah, I heard they're doing a sequel, but it's from another person's camera, okay, and I was like, is that for real? And then that idea floated out for years, and then we've gotten like not dick slapped with Cloverfield. You know what? It is dick slapped because we want that giant fucking monster film. I'll be honest with you. I don't care how good it is. I love John Goodman.
Totally.
And I didn't see Paradox. I just want my giant monsters. I don't care.
No, I actually like the Cloverfield, but they're not sequels. Those aren't sequels.
That's true, yeah.
They're just in the Cloverfield universe.
Yeah,
right?
universe.
It's not like fucking Thor is a sequel to Infinity War or whatever. I don't know. I don't know Marvel movies, but I said the wrong order.
No,
But
I think that was right.
well, I think that's probably chronologically wrong, but whatever. Okay, so that was that. But now the interesting thing to me is to dive into. So we both picked a couple of our own, like, what would we sell our soul to get a sequel to, and why, right? And that's the thing is, I think it's important just to know that we're really good compartmentalizers. So like sequels never ruin an original for me. If that was ever going to happen, it would have happened with Poltergeist, right?
Or Psycho.
Right, or Psycho, right? The shot for shot bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Or wait, no, we're talking sequel.
Even sequels like Psycho 2 is. I know we did an episode. I think we did Psycho 3.
Oh yeah, we're talking sequels. All right, so
But it doesn't fuck up anything of what Hitchcock did.
okay, yeah, let's back up. So you're right because I have this wrong. So we're talking sequels. So let's think about like if there's an atrocious sequel. I guess the only thing that fucks things up then is to me is trying to struggle with ideas of canon, right?
Yeah.
So like, did they screw up the timeline? Did they screw up the whatever? And it matters to fans, like all kinds of fans, a lot. And then I went back and I looked at Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah.
I rewatched Jason Goes to Hell and Jason Takes Manhattan consecutively, right? Now, if you had asked me 5 years ago, I would have told you that Jason Takes Manhattan is a much better movie than Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah.
Right? But now I feel like it's flipped for me. We've slipped into the growers not showers thing, and it's just because I appreciate how crazy Jason Goes to Hell is, and how bad the first half of Jason Takes Manhattan, where he's not in Manhattan, is. He's on a fucking ship that's supposedly a cruise ship, but looks like basically like the first apartment I ever lived in as an interior, right? And then he literally doesn't get to Manhattan until like the last act of the fucking movie, right?
Yeah.
So like when I think of Jason Takes Manhattan, basically what I'm remembering is the marketing, and then I'm remembering the last 20 minutes of the film, right? But Jason Goes to Hell has some really crazy shit in it, and some of it I kind of appreciate, right? So that's the thing to me is like if you could ruin the Friday the 13th series or the original movie with bad sequels, it would have happened, but it didn't happen to me, right? So I'm just immune to that, whatever that disease is of, oh my God, you ruined everything with this.
I want to sit down with someone, and I know you're out there because we've seen the answers in the page.
Yes.
I want to sit down with someone whose life has been completely shattered by a sequel. I just want to.
Well,
ask
they
them.
would you call us like, because I know those people exist, and those people are probably the people who were in the sequels, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Give me a
Michael
dollar,
Caine's
man.
gonna call us and be like, "This Jaws thing was a mistake."
But I'm dead ass serious. Like, what is going on in your day to day life? Like, do you wake up with a big smile and then you're like, ugh, Dream Warriors, and then the rest of your
not
day?
Dream Warriors, right?
Some people would. Dream Warriors grew on me when I first saw it. I thought it was the worst Friday one. I mean, it's definitely grown on me just because of time and its charm and all this other shit. But
Elm Street one. Yeah, so yeah, I agree. So okay, so but let's back up for a second. So yes, I agree with that. But I agree with you. But there is like, I mean, we do a movie podcast, right? Like, or we do an entertainment podcast. So there's a lot of power in if a movie goes bad, it can fuck up. Like it'll get to my mood and my like whatever. But I think in the context of like, how does that happen, right? So like look at the context of it for a second. If the original movies weren't that good, right? So let's take like a series that I don't care for that much, like Wishmaster, right?
yeah,
So you can't screw up Wishmaster for me because I never really was that excited about Wishmaster in the first place,
True.
right? So if an original is amazing, like The Exorcist, and then the next one is dog shit, like The Exorcist 2, right? Like, is that going to bother me? It'll bother me at the time, right? But it's not gonna affect the original for me, given any kind of distance on it. I think that's what the subject is missing, is the distance of it. We're all in this internet culture where everyone's responding even before movies are released. They're just going off the Rotten Tomato scores and the teasers or like whatever. So like they're already disappointed with Captain Marvel. It's not out yet, right?
Yeah.
So but given amount of time, like a lot of times even the bad sequels become charming or interesting, or even if they're fucking terrible, it just highlights how good the first one was and what a miracle the good ones are.
Yeah.
Right?
Even like there's some Nightmare on Elm Streets that are, not that great.
Totally.
But like you said, it makes you appreciate the old one. And then when you go back and you hear the story of how a Nightmare on Elm Street even got made, you're like, what the fuck? How did they pull that off?
Right, exactly.
They didn't have the time.
I would argue that Freddy's Dead is like who's the person like when you're doing gymnastics or whatever that helps you on the balance beam.
Yeah.
Like Freddy's Dead was like, look, New Nightmare is puzzling and the fans weren't ready for it in a lot of cases. and then it's going to grow over time. But we're going to give it a small boost by just sucking this bad.
Yeah.
Like that New Nightmare is going to be look kind of like a classic compared to whatever. So yeah, when you put it in the context, that's the thing. But let's go through a couple specifics and get out of the abstract, right? So what's a choice of yours for a sequel that you would sell your soul for?
I would definitely sell my soul for more Monster Squad anywhere.
Yes.
Anywhere.
Well, you had an interesting thing about TV versus movies.
Yeah, so
Talk about
here's
that.
okay. So with our answers,
Yes.
because it's harder to word it on Facebook because
Yeah.
reasons.
Yes.
But for the podcast, I had an idea for the choices that I would want a sequel for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give me the option of film or a TV series.
Yes.
And TV series, you have to get a little bit deeper. Actually, you know what? When I say, here's what I'm gonna do. If I pick for my picks, film, I'm gonna say what production company, and it'll probably be Blumhouse, but I will try to get creative.
Okay.
I'll try to get creative.
Okay.
And then for TV, if it's going on network
Where it would be.
or streaming.
Okay.
So for Monster Squad,
Yes.
I would totally love, and I know some people are gonna give some shit for it, but I don't give a fuck. This is what I want. I would want whoever's doing Sabrina,
Yes.
whatever they're doing, nailing some atmosphere, getting creative with some monsters, throw in some 80s love, and make Monster Squad on Netflix.
Yeah. So Monster
Episode.
Squad going to TV, we called it YA Penny Dreadful.
YA Penny Dreadful. That
Where
was our
was
stuff.
Penny Dreadful?
Showtime.
Showtime. So it's something like that, right?
Yeah,
Like
I
it
would even watch YA Penny Dreadful, aka hopefully the next Monster Squad if they make it.
Yes.
I would watch that shit on CW.
Dope.
Because
Yeah.
here's the thing is and I would love for like obviously if Fred Decker would direct it that'd be
Yes.
that'd be fantastic. But I feel like with CW there's like a level like it is still a lot of people view it as like teeny bopper stuff, which I totally get because it's like Archie
Sure.
and whatever the fuck else they have, Vampire Diaries. But there is a level of like there's a level of awesomeness that they're starting to like hit with the camp, and I feel like that would blend it pretty damn well.
Yeah, like the heyday of sci-fi. But,
Yeah.
but different. Like
Exactly.
they just do their own glorious, fucked up thing.
Yeah, and what I would love about it is a lot of people who hate the CW would hate it, and I would just get to enjoy the fuck out of the show and be like, y'all missing out. This is fantastic.
So I love that idea, and to be honest with you, that was I'm so intrigued by a lot of the because that's just so much opportunity to build a universe. There's a great Amazing Stories little old Spielberg Twilight Zone version show that aired for a while, and there's an episode called Mummy Dearest, I think,
Yeah.
where the I think Bronson Pinchot's in it from Perfect Strangers fame.
Yeah.
But they have a mummy and he's running around. The actors are running around dressed like a mummy, and everyone's mistaking him as a mummy, but there's also a real mummy. And they didn't do anything that we would recognize now as world building. I'm great at world building.
Yeah.
Like they didn't do any of that, but it was there. It's just automatically there when you're dealing with the iconic monsters, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're dealing, but in a good way, not like Tom Cruise, but like the mummy just automatically that gives you fog. It gives you the landscape. It gives you like the design. What are you going to do with the monster design? Like it gives you these things to do, like Shape of Water. I understand Shape of Water's world. Right?
Yeah.
Shape of Water didn't have to do a lot to sell me on its world because it borrowed a lot from Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, and well, here's the other thing: is we just finished watching Umbrella Academy, and it starts out with like showing all the kids with these superpowers as kids being raised in this household, and then it cuts to them like 25 years later, like my age ish, and then it cuts to them, and they all have their own issues and their own problems and their own lives. And I would like you could totally do that with the Monster Squad. Like all those kids went their fucking different routes, or maybe they stay. Who knows? But each one of those would have you'd have so much character to play with.
Totally. And they're sort of doing like with Stranger Things. You're following different characters, and it's like that makes sense in the universe that it's in. So,
Exactly.
yeah, totally. This question fucked with my head so hard, and I'll tell you why. It was because all the answers that came to me in a rush were answers that I couldn't really go with because they're just impossible to do. So like you could do a Monster Squad sequel, right? You could do it in movie form or you could do it in TV form. So
Exactly.
your answer is good because you could actually do it. I want a sequel to Exorcist 3 with the Exorcist 3 people in it, right? But
Yeah.
you can't do it because George C. Scott has gone, right?
Yeah, that's
so
hard.
I had these answers that came to my head where I got really excited about them. Like, oh wait, but you can't. Like, oh no,
No,
but you
dude,
can't,
I got an
right?
idea.
Okay, go.
All right. We acknowledge that those are the same characters.
Yes.
It's not going to be the same actors. It's going to be fucking weird. I guarantee it.
Okay.
But I guarantee it's something that we can all get over if we replace George C. Scott with Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay. I can support that. I mean, they're definitely different people, but they're both super talented.
No,
so.
they got that same fuck you energy. Dude.
Yeah, totally.
That's
right.
what I'm saying. The look department, nah.
You're right.
But they
You're
got that weird, like
I'm down
they
for
have
yeah.
they have the same attitude as a pack of cigarettes. You know what I mean?
I didn't know what you mean until you said that, and now I know what you mean.
see what I'm
It's
saying?
The perfect analogy. Yes.
But okay,
exactly,
so go
yes.
on. So Exorcist 3.
Yeah, so no, but I had gotten some like all these ones occurred to me. I'm a huge fan of the movie Possession, 1981 classic.
I don't have an answer for that one.
and you know, it ends with sort of like, oh, and I want to bring this too, but it ends in a sort of cabin in the woodsy, like maybe the whole world is ending kind of thing, the way the famous noir Kiss Me Deadly ends, or one of his alternate ends. And that's what I wanted. I wanted that, but then like if the world's ending, what are you going to sequel for that, right? Like you're going to end up with Phantasm Ravager, where like it's insane and you're in a different universe.
Yeah.
This question fucked with my head. I had to really dig and come up with like the answer I was passionate about, because it's sad to me that I don't know what happened to the Bride of Frankenstein, right? Like, I mean, I know they all blew up, but like, it's sad to me that there was no opportunity to do that cheesy horror movie thing where they come out of the rubble and outlaw Jason, and then you get to follow them and enjoy those characters again. But all of that is like, I was trying to keep it like what you did, which was pick one you could actually do, right? And whatever. So my first answer in the group obviously was Twin Peaks season 4, just because.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's a suitable answer because. You know, it's obvious, and there's a very good chance it's already happening anyway. So that's that's a thing for that.
Wishful thinking. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Wishful thinking is gonna happen. So that's that's that thing or whatever. And the same thing with a lot of Lynch properties. Like I would love for there to be a Mulholland Drive too, because it's quite possibly my favorite modern movie. But that's not how it would go anyway. It would be like, you know, Talking Shoes and fucking like, you know, lunar eclipses and exactly right, exactly. So that's not going to work either. So I realized that when I was digging for the sequel that I would sell my soul for, like what characters was I looking to follow that. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to get brave because I really, really enjoyed Bates Motel. Right. So like if you said I want a sequel to Psycho, but I want it with Anthony Perkins, that's not possible. Right.
Yeah.
But they sort of did kind of follow on or do some extensions to the Psycho story. And I really enjoyed a lot of what they were trying to achieve. Right. So like I like these classic properties and these things that or whatever. So that I do want to see sequels to those things. But I'm going to make you happy with the answer. I know it's completely impossible, but I think there's Bram Stoker's Dracula sits in a really weird position in a horror that I don't think we even appreciate how weird it is till later, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'll tell you why I think that. I think that because we were talking about this just before we started recording, actually. Like there's directors who wander into the horror field and then wander back out, right? Like Stanley Kubrick did with The Shining, or Martin Scorsese did with Shutter Island or Cape Fear. And to me, looking at, so it's weird because when you look at that, it doesn't feel right. So like, it doesn't feel right so like with The Shining, it didn't feel right to Stephen King and a huge subset of Stephen King centric fans who recognize that he didn't really appreciate that, right? And they kind of smell it on Kubrick that he's not the biggest fan of the horror genre in a lot of senses.
Yeah.
Although with Kubrick, I would argue that none of his public statements are trustworthy. He's playing a deeper game, right? So, but Martin Scorsese, like I really liked Shutter Island, and I really, really enjoyed Cape Fear, but it just didn't feel right. Bram Stoker's Dracula feels exactly right, and it's by one of the greatest directors who's ever walked the earth, right?
Yeah.
So you've got this movie, which is sort of a minor miracle right under our noses, where you had a major director come in and make a horror movie that I no movie is non-controversial, but Bram Stoker's Dracula is pretty non-controversial in that it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
In that it's a lot of people think that it was great, right? And for some reason, I'm really just hankering for a sequel to that because no other movie feels that's the modern universal atmosphere thing, right? You know, remember when we walked out of The Nun and we were so disappointed because we wanted the next Hammer thing,
Yeah.
and they gave us the Hammer fog machine,
Yeah.
but they didn't give us the Hammer thing, right?
bricks.
No one else has given me that what Coppola did with his like unique place, that intersection of his craft where it looked cutting edge, but it also felt super old school, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's cutting edge and old school simultaneously, right? So
Shape of Water is the closest.
Shape of Water is very, very close, but that's the thing is Shape of Water felt like a piece of classical music to me.
Yeah.
Right? Like not even like a movie. It just felt like a symphony or something. So, but Bram Stoker's Dracula, because Shape of Water is not scary, right? So Michael Shannon's scary, but like I have a feeling Michael Shannon's scary in real life. But like Bram Stoker Dracula had like, I know it's not, but trust me, I'm not dumb. I know that it's not like Evil Dead level scary, but there were moments in Bram Stoker's Dracula that
That's bullshit.
I've
Our roommate and her friend just watched it last week.
okay. Oh,
Last
good
week.
timing.
They just watched it last week, yeah, because I was late for an open mic and I was freaking out. Couldn't
Mm-hmm.
find my keys because you know why. And
Yes, I do.
she was watching it with her, and our roommate had already seen it.
Yes.
She had first time.
Okay.
And I guess she's very sensitive to horror films, but I just heard her the whole time going, ah! Like she was screaming and like freaking out, especially the scene when Dracula
Turns into rats?
Turns into rats.
That's
like
my
that,
favorite.
That was a really good scene, and they
Yes.
got a like a rise out of her.
Totally.
And so I think it still works pretty.
Yeah,
pretty
so
good.
that's the thing is I want to go back to that universe, and I understand, believe me, I know like whatever that he died and whatever. So if the central character in a horror movie dies, clearly there can't be any sequels.
Dacre Stoker doesn't think so.
Right? You can't
He
like
came out with Dracula too.
there's no
right?
Friday 2 or Elm Street 2 or any of those twos, right? So so that's what I'm saying is you can make that happen, so you can bring that back. So that actually is that, even if it was another installment in that series, because to me the scariest character person in Bram Stoker's Dracula is Van Helsing.
Yeah.
He's scarier than Dracula,
Yeah.
right? And he didn't die, so like you could definitely do like whatever. So I think that's to me that one I could get really really excited about if they came back and did a sequel to that. So that was one of my choices. What's your next if you had a follow on choice?
Similar to that, I would like to see an extension of the story. I don't know what you would possibly do, but I really liked Johnny Depp's Ichabod Crane.
Yes, totally.
I would like to just see more of like what. I don't know. I don't even know. That would probably come in like a book form or something like that. Like
Sure.
it wouldn't come in the Netflix special that I was hoping for. But
Right.
I don't know. Would that even work? Would the Adventures of Ichabod Crane work? Because he's not a
Of course
paranormal
it
guy. He became a paranormal guy because of the events of Sleepy Hollow.
Right. Right.
But like, would that
Yeah,
become
of
his
course
shtick?
that would work. Yeah, absolutely that would work. I mean, that's what we were saying before is when you get talented people to make good shit, it turns out good. Like you just got to find someone talented to problem solve how to make that.
There's something cool
Feel
about
right.
there's something cool about. Well, he's no longer a skeptic though, which actually would probably make it more interesting because now he's like, I'm gonna hunt this shit. I'm gonna find some ghosts or whatever. I don't know what he's looking for.
Right. Right.
So I don't. Would I go with Sleepy Hollow? You know what? I don't feel as strong about Sleepy Hollow as I did about Monster Squad.
Right.
Monster Squad.
Monster Squad's your real answer.
Monster Squad. My real answer, the one that we've talked about. Okay, scratch that. Unless some screamer comes up with a fantastic thing for Ichabod Crane, then rock and roll, let's do it.
Yes.
Bring back everyone from the original cast, and let's do another Mummy film.
Yes.
Brandon Fraser.
I knew that was your real
He's
answer.
having his comeback with this one DC show.
Mm-hmm.
He's back in the game. What's her last name? I always botch it. Rachel Wise.
Yes.
Is that
Yeah, well, I guess.
Was that? I think
Maybe.
I might have botched that, but like, she just had the favorite. Good shit's still happening, and everyone. And here's the thing: it is such a prime time to
Totally.
make that movie. 'Cause
Totally.
the Tom Cruise movie came out. It was not what people wanted.
Nope.
Not close. It it shut down the Dark Universe with Blumhouse as like the cleanup crew now. They're like, okay, how can we fix this? All right, give us the Invisible Man. We'll make a couple $1 million.
Yep.
Let's bring back Brendan Fraser. Let's get another good Mummy sequel. Let's get one more, because I know that they had the Tomb one with Jet Li, which I watched, and it had like, it's the least favorite out of the two.
Yes.
Or out of the three.
Yes.
Because it had like these Yetis in it or some shit like that. And like, you know, I'm all about positivity, but like I remember being severely underwhelmed on that one. It was weird. But even the Mummy 2 was like, it was like even the Mummy 2 with the Scorpion King ending is better. And
Totally.
You know, but I feel like now's the right time to be like, you guys spent how much? $200 million making a Mummy film. You fucked up. Mm-hmm. Give us half of that. Mm-hmm. And we're gonna make some good shit. Mm-hmm. And it would have to be Universal. Mm-hmm. Universal will do it. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I don't know if Universal's working with Blumhouse. No, I want Universal to do it. There's something about and I mentioned this before.
The heritage of it.
The heritage of it, but there's something about, like, we were talking about like the feel for Bram Stoker. Mm-hmm. Universal had it. Paramount used to have it. Wait, did Paramount do the new Mission Impossible? I think so.
That sounds right.
They might still have it. But like, when you think about like those films that had those moments, I always think of Paramount and the Addams Family, mm-hmm. Universal Monsters. I feel like this is the chance. Universal owns the rights. They don't give a fuck what I think. But I feel like if you give it the Universal magic, don't do this dumb Universal shit. Get Brendan Fraser, get all them guys back.
Yep.
Bam. Well, hire me now, Hollywood. What are you waiting for?
That's right. Hire
Make movies I want to see.
Hire them now. Yeah, absolutely.
Plus, they're all still alive.
Yeah,
we can bring everyone back. Everyone still looks good. You know, sometimes you look at some actors, you're like, whoa. People had that with Brendan Fraser for a second, but then like he got back into shape or some shit like that. He's looking good. Everyone's prime. The kid they had, he's an adult now, so I don't know what the fuck. I don't even know if he's still an actor, to be honest with you. I didn't follow his career because I was a kid myself.
Right.
I didn't. But I don't know. I feel like the feeling's right. The last Mummy movie flopped. We know those did good. Bring it back. Plus, Brandon Fraser's like, I think Michael Keaton went through it a few years ago, and then like he did like Birdman, and now he's like doing Dumbo, and like everyone fucking loves Michael Keaton again. I mean, they always loved him, but he's back.
Totally.
I feel like Brandon Fraser's
He's due,
and it has to be with a Mummy film, either that or Encino Man 2. So pick your fucking.
Well, I picked the Mummy film. That's definitely
or both. Cut it out.
So, but this is interesting because it made me think. There was another thing about this fucking when I had this question, right? Because the question is, how closely are you following the original? I was trying to find one you could closely follow, and I'll tell you why. Because it occurred to me, it's one of those sneaky revelations that I like what I had when I realized that Nosferatu is a secret horror franchise. So I found another secret horror franchise that has a couple of my favorite horror movies in it. Right. But I never realized it was a franchise. It's probably not a franchise to anyone but me, but it's become a franchise now in my head. Right. Which is Phantom of the Opera. So Phantom of the Opera is one of my favorite movies. It's one of the first movies I ever saw as a kid.
Yeah.
And then Phantom of the Paradise, which is the Brian De Palma one, is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Right. So that's what I'm looking for, another installment in the Phantom series, but they're wildly disconnected. So I don't feel like it really works because clearly Phantom dies. So like, yeah, that story is concluded, right? It's come to an end. So I don't think that's going to work. If I was thinking of a way to follow a series further, here's the thing. So like almost all horror fans love Tremors, right? And they love Predator. They like that action horror thing, like whatever. I loved Splinter, as you know.
Oh yeah.
And I know, like, my favorite character probably in Splinter died, right? Ostensibly, like, who knows? Maybe he's like a vegetable creature now.
Yeah.
But I would love to see another installment in that Splinter. Splinter was the quiet, small, kind of under the radar best version. Like, it felt like Blob 88 to me.
Yeah.
Right? It was like, it literally that good, that stylish, that compelling at characters and writing, like that scary, that gory, like it had all of that horror deliciousness, right? They look for. And then there's no sequel to it. And I realized that there's a bunch of subset movies that are like that, like Train to Busan, where you're not following the same characters, but I want more of it.
Yeah.
Right? So it's that kind of thing. I think I don't know how to articulate it really well, but I feel like for some reason I the big epic
Sort of like what
movies-
28 Weeks did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly right. So yeah, exactly, and that's what I would want to see with like Busan or a Splinter. So those would be my other choices. I wouldn't sell my soul for them, right? But
I would
like,
sell my soul right now to the devil on the dotted line for Barry 2. And all it needs to be,
yes.
people, get Ryan Reynolds on this. It's the cheapest movie ever. We get a prop skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
We put it in the coffin. We let the camera roll for an hour and a half. Credits. Blumhouse logo. Where's my check? They could live stream Barry 2. All they gotta do is just put. We should. That's, you know what? Scratch that.
Scratch
We're
that.
gonna do the sequel. Around Halloween time, I'm gonna buy a prop coffin. I'm gonna put a fake skeleton in it. We're gonna go live for an hour and a half. I'm gonna call it Barry 2, and then at the end,
Yes.
roll credits. You know what? Barry 2 in development. Hollywood Reporter, run the story. It's already happening.
It's happened. It's done. Yeah, but that's the thing is like I'm literally I don't think that I was the big franchise ones like Dracula, Phantom of the Opera. I was excited about, but I wouldn't sell my soul for just because you couldn't follow it the way that they were because they so definitively killed off a lot of the people that I would have needed to be really excited about it. Right?
Yeah.
But if you get a clever, creative way to bring that back, like you said about 28 Days Later, like that's something I would be totally down with, right? But then the smaller ones like Splinter and Train to Busan, I'm excited about. I wouldn't sell my soul for. So ultimately, my real answer to this, the only one that I would sell my soul for is a Lynch property. It would be like Mulholland Drive or Twin Peaks.
What about a Carnival of Souls 2?
So I thought of Carnival of Souls, actually, but again, it just felt like you're just doing another Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're just, because it's another installment of that universe, but like, how would that twist be any different? Like, that's the twist, is she's dead, but she thinks she's alive, right? So, like, either you don't do that twist, in which case it's not really a Carnival of Souls entry, or you do the twist, but we already know it's coming. Like, I don't know how you answer that question. It'd be like doing a sequel to the others, right?
Yeah, which coincidentally enough is going to show up on the Growers Not Showers.
Right?
I know.
So it's interesting. I think it would be easier for me to answer the question, what remake would I sell my soul for? Right? Because that's the thing. But let's
I'll keep it real, mommy. Just keep it easy.
let's keep it easy. But let's wrap up with, let's have the fun part of we were stacking to try to figure out the quality of sequels versus remakes against each other by taking the best. Let's take the worst real quick. Like, what's the absolute worst? Here, I'll Google it for you while you're
Okay,
thinking.
wait. So you're which
Worst
one you Google?
horror sequel? I'll do sequel, you do remake.
Okay.
Right.
Worst.
I already know off the top of my head what I would have thought was.
Yeah, there's a few for remakes, definitely.
Right. But I'm curious about, like, if you took the bottom three with the other three, like, and everyone who's listening is now
Okay, this is from Screen Rant.
screaming answers at the
All right, let me scroll down. Oh, Cabin Fever. Yeah.
at the radio, right? So, like, to me, one of the worst. So I'm doing sequels, right? So one of the absolute worst travesty, atrocious sequels to me. This is not original, but it's personal to me because it's one of it's, if not my favorite franchise, pound for pound, is Halloween Resurrection, which is just
Yeah.
god awful travesty. I can't believe what they did with Jamie Lee Curtis. And the fact that they would hit you with that in the beginning and be like, look, we're getting rid of Jamie Lee Curtis. Hear me out. Hear me out, Nick. I'm going to get rid of Jamie Lee Curtis, right? But I have a reason for it because I've got something better than the Laurie Strode plotline coming. You ready? And then here comes Busta Rhymes, and everyone's going to live in the real world.
That was the first Halloween film I ever rented.
Like, absolutely atrocious. Not that there aren't a couple of gloriously insane, weird like moments or whatever, but that's my least favorite sequel of all time. So give me a couple bad.
Okay, so I went to Bloody Disgusting. There was a bunch of websites. There was the last one I disagree with. That Amityville 05 and Quarantine. I was like, those are good movies.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
like those.
Yes.
So Psycho is always on everyone's list.
Yes.
So shot for shot remake.
Yes.
Oh no, don't do this. Bloody disgusting. Pages. I have to do Pages.
Oh,
I'm
come
gonna vomit.
on.
All right, so they have Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes.
remake.
Yes.
I agree. I defended Jackie Earle Haley's Krueger.
Okay.
I kind of dug it.
Okay.
But it has like no heart to it.
But let's do this. That's all we need to wrap this up. Let's do this. Nightmare on Elm Street remake versus Halloween Resurrection, which is a worse crime against humanity. So I would argue Resurrection is, but that's because it's personal to me, right?
I would say, well, then it gets interesting because then it's like it's situational. Like, where did I see the film? I watched Halloween Resurrection when I was homesick.
Right.
And anytime I can watch a movie and not be in school, it's gonna be a better time than when I pay to go see it in the theater.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
But to be fair, it's been that long since I've seen Halloween Resurrection. I've seen that Nightmare on Elm
You mean
Street
you don't
remake.
wake up being like, man, I got to recheck out
No,
Halloween Resurrection?
the only one I want to rewatch recently is The Blob '88. That's the only one I can think. I'm definitely thinking of Halloween Resurrection. But I would say if I rewatched it, would I think they're equal? That's how. All right, so let me run off memory from what I remember. I remember that's the one where they had the cameras, right, and they were like live
Yes.
streaming it. It's automatically going to win for the old technology charm.
Yeah,
over
yeah.
that.
For you, I could see it.
Yeah, so
it's
I would
totally
enjoy.
for
I would enjoy.
you. See, my
Resurrection
argument
more,
would be reversed. My argument would be like if you know how they say, like, we live in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah.
So like there's an earthquake and everyone's supposed to be prepared, but no one really is. And you're supposed to have a kit and like all your papers and all. No one does that, right? So if earthquake hit right now, you got to grab the most important thing to you in the house, not counting your loved ones, and then run out the door with it, right? So you're saving the one thing. If you were grabbing one valuable thing
Yeah, I see
out
where
of
you're going.
Nightmare on Elm Street, you're grabbing Jackie Earle Haley's performance, right? If you're grabbing one thing at Halloween Resurrection, I don't know what you're saving.
Okay,
in case of an earthquake.
You're saving charm.
Okay,
What I
so
believe
yeah,
is charm. And
that's
charm
fair.
is throughout the whole film, where Jackie Earle Haley is only in boom, 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 little parts of the film.
That's fair.
Now, do his boom, boom, booms equal more charm? Oh, Jesus, we need a whiteboard for this one.
No, that's fair. That's totally fine. So again, like that's the thing is, I feel like, but in this case, when you go back to the bottom of the barrel,
I would be
feel
more
like-
interested to watch Nightmare on Elm Street. Because
I feel like I would have a better time watching Halloween Resurrection. That doesn't mean because I feel like Nightmare on Elm Street is just flat.
it is.
I feel like it's
But
dead.
I
It's
would.
just dead
But
and
here's
hard.
again with like the puppy dog mind mentality.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that was shit. Hey, is that movie good? Have I watched that movie in a while?
Right.
And then I'd be like, oh, I'm disappointed again.
Right, exactly.
No,
but that's the
I'm
thing is
flopping again.
with Halloween Resurrection, I would be turning to people and being like, "Do you believe this shit?" Like, because you'd have fun doing that with Nightmare on Elm Street. I'd probably just fall asleep, to be honest with you. So it's you know.
Yeah. No, I'm flopping back over to Halloween. That's where I stood. I thought I convinced myself it was Nightmare on Elm Street, but then I realized it's not. And I'm going back to Halloween. I'm going back to Halloween.
Fair enough. So here's the thing though. I think if you took the bottom of the barrel of both categories, I feel like it might go back to our original point to come full circle, where I feel like remakes have a slightly higher inherent value than sequels. Slightly. Right. I think they have a slight edge as a category. I don't know why to explain it. I know they tied when we did the top, but the more I thought about like the bottom of them, like again, the Poltergeist remake is a crime. It's just a miserable piece of shit production, but you know, that's to me, it's like I was more excited to hear about the chance to have a new enjoyable Poltergeist than I am when they announce a sequel to most things most of the time. Like, I really like The Quiet Place, for example, but I'm not that excited for a Quiet Place sequel. I love The Witch. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. But even the idea of a Witch sequel makes me a little nervous. Whereas 15 years from now, if someone was like, I'm remaking The Witch, I'd be like, all right, I'll give you a shot. You know,
Yeah.
like a thing. So I don't know what it is. I just feel like, I don't know
where we
why. I feel like
land.
remake has a little bit more value but it's elucidated by the very last rung on the ladder.
It's like a boxing match. Are you going to put your money on the guy with the more powerful punches, or are you going to go with the guy who's quicker?
Yes,
I feel like
that's exactly right.
I don't know which one's which. The quick puncher would be the sequel. because it's like boom, here's another one, boom, here's another one, boom, here's another one.
Yeah, totally.
The Haymaker would be like, hey, it's been 10 years, bow.
And that's the thing, like The Shining is a great answer to this question because I feel like I fell in love. This is going to sound weird, but I fell in love with the Overlook Hotel in that movie, and the fact that I don't get to revisit the Overlook Hotel bums me out, right? So if you were going to ask me, would I rather have a remake of The Shining or a sequel to The Shining? I'd be way more excited about a sequel in that case because I feel like you can't really remake.
What you're getting.
Right, they did remake The Shining actually, and I don't.
TV,
it doesn't stack up. And then the second is, it's. I just want to revisit the hotel. I don't necessarily want to rewatch the things that I've already seen happen.
Yeah,
right.
you just like the setting.
Right, exactly. I want to revisit the place. Right, so like the sequel has the advantage in that instance, but it's all personal. We know it's all subjective. So let us know on our Facebook page or message us. Or join the Facebook group, even better, because then you can have real-time conversations with us and get shout-outs on the episodes all the time like we do all the time.
It's that easy. And while you're there and while you're listening to it, follow us on iTunes and Spotify. Rate and subscribe.
Yes.
And until next time, watch a bunch of horror movies and stay scary.
Bye, guys.
Bye.